All right. Well, happy Thursday, everybody. Get a few more people jumping in. There's the future First Lady of NAIFA, Sherry Wheeler.
Hi, guys.
All right. Hey, Sarah, I'm going to be in Illinois for the ACLI meeting after Apex. And I think Colin is putting together a yacht reception for that Friday night. Okay, well, it's 1 minute after 4. So why don't we just go ahead and get started? If more people join us in progress, that's great. I want to thank you guys for joining us. A few months ago, we started, I guess we restarted having these kind of professional staff, paid members of the NAIFA team kind of gatherings just to make sure we've got good communication going. We're all on the same page. And if there's any additional thoughts or suggestions or questions or things we all want to share with each other, we'd have a forum to do that. So I appreciate you taking some time out of your day to be here. A couple things that I wanted to go over. One, first, happy Liam to all of you. Hopefully you're seeing some good use out of the Life Insurance Awareness Month materials by your members, and of course by you all on your chapter websites, etc. We've gotten some really good press from Liam and the good work that Life Happens as a part of the NAIFA family does. I don't know if you all noticed, but we were in a variety of publications yesterday and today around the country, not just industry publications, but Main Street like Newsweek and a few others. So that's good. It's good to see our name get out there. It builds again credibility and respect for the great work that our larger NAIFA family does. Puts a spotlight on the need for more people to get life insurance and talks about the trends that we've seen through a variety of studies related to people putting together financial plans at what point in their life and when they're getting their kind of act in order. And it was good to see, some mainstream stuff pick up on that. So really good there. One of the things we are doing with Life Happens, in case you all didn't know this, is, we all know, or I'm pretty sure we all know, that Life Happens has a very robust inventory of videos of people talking about, you know, something happened, they were prepared or they weren't prepared, how having or not having insurance impacted their lives, many times talking about the key role that their advisor played in helping make sure they were financially prepared, etc. And for those of you that have seen them, and I'm pretty sure most of us have, they're like stories that are like tear-jerking, gut-wrenching, and tell things in a real way that really pulls at the heartstrings and does it in an impactful manner. We're now leveraging those videos, and we're creating new videos in targeted districts around the country to better help policymakers understand, again, the real impacts that the products that our members offer have on society, but also the key role that our members play in making sure that those products are in place for their constituents back at home. And we think that's going to be very useful as we move into what a lot of people are labeling as the Super Bowl of tax, which is next year. As you all probably also know, many of the key provisions, actually all of the key provisions from the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act expire next year. And so that's going to mean major, major, major overhauls to the tax code one way or the other. If Congress and the White House choose to extend those, if they choose to change them, if they choose to just let them lapse, which they will at the end of 2025, there's going to be a lot of policy related discussion and battles that'll take place over the course of the 2025 year until we get till the end of the year when they expire on 12/31/2025. So it's important for us to be able to talk to policymakers again about how this industry is different and how insurance and other protection products are important for everybody, about how let's not tax employee benefits because that's going to be a way that will dissuade people from having, employer provided benefits, et cetera. It may be a disincentive for employers to even provide them themselves, and lots of other stuff. You guys have probably seen some of the slides that we put in presentations that Diane and her team have talked about. But when you look at it, about 2/3 of the revenue generating, or as the federal government likes to call it, expenditure lists, relate to the financial services industry. So it's very important to our members in the industry at large, and it could have either a good effect or a neutral effect or a crippling effect on Americans and the way they plan for their financial futures, and to our members and their livelihood, depending upon what Congress does next year. So we're taking those Life Happens videos, and many times we're creating new ones in targeted districts around the country to be able to show those to policymakers and say, hey, this isn't academic. This is what someone in your district is saying. This is Sherry Wheeler from Houston, Texas, and her story, that kind of thing. This is Nate Lehman from Carmel, Indiana, and this is his story, et cetera, in a way that hopefully drives down the point even deeper than what we're able to do through our grassroots efforts and from going to different offices, either in district or at the Capitol. It's just an extra tool for us to use that hopefully will humanize a lot of the stories and the information that we share with policymakers all the time. So I think it's another example, again, about how, this integration of Life Happens, FSP, and NAIFA into the NAIFA family, I guess both of those into the NAIFA family, really is making us a lot stronger and gives us the ability to be more impactful as a professional association. Along that way, there's challenges. I'm sure you all have experienced some challenges as we've integrated FSP into the NAIFA family. You've got FSP legacy members that, oh, by the way, the average legacy FSP member is 12 years older than the average legacy NAIFA member. So that's a significant difference. But they've also, as an association, or that part of our family as an association, has traditionally focused a lot more on, or almost exclusively on, professional development, on learning, training, educating, being on top of what's going on related to how things are treated from the regulatory sense, to the judicial rulings, or from the statutory sense, and helping everyone get better at doing what they do and serving their clients. And in NAIFA, while professional development has always been part of what we do, the advocacy and other pieces have been more of what we do than professional development. So I think a key thing as we continue to work on integrating FSP members and FSP chapters into our NAIFA chapters, is making sure that we welcome them and we make them feel, as much of a part of the family as they felt in their home FSP chapter prior to the merger. But two, I think what it also gives us at all levels is an opportunity to bring on board some great subject matter expertise and people who love doing training and love going to training courses, et cetera, into our family. And, in many cases, I know that our chapters struggle to get volunteers to step up and raise their hand and say, I'm willing to serve as insert name of whatever committee leader, or help with whatever activity, because they're like, I got a lot going on. I just don't have a lot of time for it. This gives us a lot of new blood of people that really love to do that. So I know Jesse's talked to you all about this a bunch of times, but if you're wondering, how do I best get these FSP legacy folks involved? Give them an opportunity to maybe serve as your programs committee or your professional development committee. Give them an opportunity to present if you have a meeting. And I know that meetings take place differently than how they did before, and sometimes less frequently. But maybe you can give them an opportunity to present on a topic for 15 or 30 minutes, whatever you've got available. And I think that they'll say, gosh, this is still the professional association that I joined. In many cases, their members have been members of the Society of COU, or FSP now, for a lot longer than even a lot of our legacy NAIFA members have been, which says a lot. I think it'll help them feel more comfortable and at home. And why is that important? One, I think it does strengthen our bench. Two, it makes us bigger. Three, it makes us stronger again because we've got this extra expertise we can add that can benefit every other member of our association. But it's incredibly important, especially now, and that is four, and that is that the vast majority, two-thirds of the legacy FSP members, their membership renews in September, October, of each year. They, like in the NAFA case, right now, only about a third of our members are annual payers. The other two-thirds are monthly payers. And with the FSP legacy side, it's kind of flipped. So two-thirds of the people are annual payers. And if we lose them, I think the chances of us getting them back are not very high. Again, they're a lot older than the average NAFA people are, which again, we're not spring chickens ourselves, but they're older. And on top of it, if they're like 70 or 75 years old and they decide to drop out, I think the chances of them saying join your professional association again, especially when it's got a different label than the one that you had before, is going to be tough. So whatever you all can do, working with your volunteers and with others on your team, and that our team, including all components of the NAFA enterprise, to make sure that the legacy FSP folks feel welcome and that we reach out to them, especially now, October, November, as those kind of like the 30, 60-day post-renewal period kind of comes to an end, I think will really help us with retention. And retention, of course, helps not only with that bench strength and that expertise, but also with the revenue that flows from it. More people, more dues money coming in, more resources for us to do the work that we need to do. More of them lapsing makes it very difficult because, as you all know, because we all deal with it every day at every level in this organization. When we get smaller, we lose dollars. When we lose dollars, it's harder to do the work that we need to do. So we need to find a way to turn on the revenue pumps, but a sure way to accelerate decline is to have a larger number of people go away via attrition than what we would expect through natural attrition, through retirement or moving on, or just go into the next phase in existence. On the national side, and Corey or Justy or anybody that on the headquarters team, if I miss something, let me know. But we've sent out emails to each of the legacy FSP folks. We have sent text messages and voicemails to the legacy FSP folks. We sent a snail mail message, a letter from me to each of them, their actual mailbox, because maybe they'll open that if they don't open the emails. And then we've had the integration and membership committees calling each of them. We've also had the legacy FSP staff calling them as well. So, if, maybe at this point they might have heard from a person who was part of the FSP team for 5, 10, 25 years, who's given them a call and saying, hey, I really hope you're enjoying a lot out of this. Here's the benefits of being part of NAFA as our larger FSP NAFA Life Happens family. And we really just hope you're getting a lot out of it. And please get engaged and stay involved. We've all got to do our part to make sure that happens. If not, the cliff could be very, very steep for us over the course of the next few months, which is not good. Conversely, we budgeted on about 60-ish% of them sticking around. If we get a lot higher than that, that's good. That means we're going to do better than we anticipated, which would be great. Apex, as you all know, is next week. I want to be candid with you. Our attendance at Apex NLC is much less than we would desire. We're a little bit north of 300 people coming, which isn't horrible. And I think it'll be enough to make sure that the vendors and sponsors there are satisfied. But an organization our size, we should have a lot more folks going. So I think that the fact that the attendance is what it is, and the market helps dictate what you do. You guys know that all the time with your events at the chapter level. I think that the board is going to have to consider what's next for us in doing that kind of national programming. Do we continue to do it? And if so, in what format and how does that work? One of the biggest complaints that we've heard, and I'm sure you guys hear it from your members all the time, is the registration fee for the event is too high. Well, the registration fee basically covers the cost of food and beverage, but our members are saying $800 to go to a conference is too much. Now they'll pay $1,600 to go to the FinSecond conference or $1,600 to go to MDRT, but $800 for an NAFA event's too much. But if that's what the market is and that's the way our members feel, I get it. But that also means we can't do conferences, at a place like we're doing at the Arizona Biltmore. We've got to find a more cost-effective way to deliver that connection and that training than what we've got this year. So I'd like for you all to think about what you all think might be best for us moving forward, coming to both A, national programming, like a conference like Apex, and then B, probably even more important, what we do about doing things like a national leadership conference or training. Do we go back to a virtual setting? Do we do it at the headquarters? Which, by the way, I don't know if you guys have all had a chance to do it. Some of you probably have, some of you haven't. But our headquarters in Arlington, Virginia has got a beautiful conference center that we can use. Unfortunately, it only accommodates about 125 or so people. But we can get creative about ways that we do training, maybe bring people in waves if we've got more than the capacity of the room to do the work. But what might work? What might work so that that not only do our volunteers get the training that they need to be successful in their volunteer roles, and not only do our members get the training that they need to be, the education, I guess, that they need to be good professionals, but how do we do it in a manner that when it balances out, it works with the budget, works with the time, and also at the same time doesn't cost, doesn't lose a lot of money. NAIFA major national events since I've been here, which has now been 9 years, none of them with an asterisk on the asterisk small. It's the FSP Institute, and it's our targeted fly-ins that we get companies to sponsor. All the other national programming loses money and loses hundreds of thousands of dollars per event. Congressional conference typically costs NAIFA $250,000 to $350,000 in net loss each time we do it. Now, that's okay in some ways because it's an investment in our core advocacy deliverables, but a training type conference, an educational event, a professional development event like Apex shouldn't be losing money. But the last time we did it 2 years ago, it lost about $400,000. And this year, we're probably going to lose a couple $100,000 at it, even with increasing the registration fee to where it is. We got to figure out a way to deliver what our members want and need, but do it in a way that they'll actually be willing to write a check and pay for it. And so any thoughts you guys have on that would be great. Where the board will be discussing at its meeting coming up next week what the options are for next year. And, there's some strong desires to do an in-person NLC in a location other than Washington, D.C., which we've got some options for them. It may happen. But again, the price point is more than a couple $100. It's not as much as 800, but it's more like 600, 650 bucks a piece to make that happen. Is that stuff our members will pay? I just don't know if they will. If we did something in DC, we'd cut back on costs because a lot of our staff are based in the DC area. And if we use the headquarters facility, we don't have the high food and beverage costs you'd have at a hotel venue, especially like the ones that we tend to use in DC. But will people, is that the right environment when you've got to do it in smaller sections at a time? Because we can only accommodate 125-ish per session because that's the capacity of the conference space. So actually, why don't I open it up? If any of you guys have any thoughts on that, now I'd love to hear them. If not, please noodle on it and email it to me because I know we didn't send out an agenda and I didn't ask you to think about it in advance. But if you've got any thoughts, I'd love to hear it.
This is Mark Mail. Good afternoon. I've spoken up before and I haven't been excommunicated yet, so that's a good thing, I suppose. But I worked for GE for almost 9 years, and decision making was done based on gathering information and data. And I'm not here to impugn the process, but it sounds to me like we need to find out from the members where they want to meet, when they want to meet, and what their price elasticity is in terms of what they're willing to pay for these events. I obviously I'm involved with a number of organizations, not just Rhode Island, Connecticut, Mass, but other groups. And like last year, we had a meeting in Vermont, and the attendance wasn't good. So we did a survey. We said, where do you want to have it? And they said they want to have it in the Burlington area. Well, our numbers have dramatically increased over last year because we listened to the members, the rank and file. The danger is when you're in a vacuum and you have the leadership together, and that's not to say there aren't great ideas and concepts that come out of that brainstorming with the leadership, but at the same time, you need to validate some of the assumptions before you pull the trigger. In a previous life, I had a convention that it failed. I learned my lesson. We did the survey to try to assess and collect what people thought, what they wanted, when they wanted to meet, how much they were willing to pay. And we went from a dud to a stud. I don't know if that's an analogy I can use, but that's what it felt like anyway. And that's my only observation quickly is, for us, and by the way, I'm also sensitive to the fact that when we're in DC, if you're from Hawaii, California, Oregon, Washington, Alaska, that is a big ask, and talk about expense for them. I just had a meeting with the state execs with the independent agents out in Oregon, and it was not inexpensive to get there. But then again, next year it'll be East Coast, so that alternating location, and we do a survey of all the individuals, not just within that execs group, but with each of our groups that we work with, and we use that as our guide. So that's my only comment.
Mark, those are great comments, and I would love to take our programming from being a dud to a stud. That would be good. Any other thoughts you guys want to share now?
Because we don't budget for travel for the executive director, and unless National's going to pay for it, I can't see ever coming from Iowa to Washington, D.C. When I worked full time previously, at least it was budgeted and I didn't have to pay for out of pocket. But I do this on a part-time basis. I'm not going to pay for it out of pocket.
Right.
I will attend a virtual meeting, because there's no expense to that, just my time. So I think you're going to get my participation with virtual meeting because I'm only a part-time person and we don't budget for any of that.
Understood. Thank you, Linda.
Hey,
Anybody
Kevin.
else?
Kevin,
Jim.
I was just wondering, how does that FSP Institute fit into all this? Is there any way you can use that?
Yes and yes. So the answer is yes. The FSP Institute is a lot smaller of an event than what we typically do. It draws 50 to 100 people, depending upon whether it's a dud or a stud. But what we do have with that event is that they're used to paying about a $1,500 registration fee. And a lot of it is, once you guys all know this because you do your events all the time, when you get past the fixed cost, then you're looking at you've got some funds that can go help support the operating budget of the organization, which is critical for the work you guys do all year round. So what we've talked about, what we're planning to do for we have a few FSP Institute-like sessions that are being held at Apex next week. And we do have some, NAFA members that are legacy FSP folks that are coming. They're also going to continue to do that as a standalone in January because that's the time period that they've got. And it's just too far ahead of when we might do any sort of like NAFA professional development programming for next year. But the talk has been, if we continue with an Apex, combine Apex and the Institute together as one event, which at least if we can convince those legacy folks that it's worth their time and effort to still come. For a lot of them, it's like their reunion. They get to see their friends that they've known for 30 years, that kind of stuff. But that will at least give us a base of 50 plus to attend. Good thought, Jan. Anybody else?
Kevin, I had a comment. I'm happy that I am going to be able to attend this year. And I was like the other Linda, when I first saw it, I thought there's no way that I'm going to be able to afford that. And we got to talking on our cohort and came to the agreement that if more was done, just like we used to have the execs carve out portion of National Convention years ago, then it would be worth my time and my money. So thankfully, Jesse got with people and they pulled it together. So I'm very, very happy that they're going to have some leadership courses available for us as execs, because it does us no good to sit through a sales presentation. So that's why I'm going to get to come.
Totally understood. And glad you're coming. I think you're going to love it out there. If you haven't been to the Biltmore yet, it's an amazing, iconic property. And you'll be there with 300 of your closest friends.
This
Anybody
is,
Staying at
else?
the Embassy
Yeah.
Suites.
this is Sandy Beeson from Minnesota.
Hey, Sandy.
I will be attending Apex for the first time. I just started as chapter executive here in Minnesota a year ago. I'm very happy that the chapter has funds to send me along with our other couple of board members attending. But the frustration I found in trying to figure out when to travel was if I wanted to get to the first session Thursday morning, I needed to travel on Wednesday. If I wanted to attend the banquet Saturday night, that means I needed to go home on Sunday. That is a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And expense to the chapter.
Yeah.
So I'm missing the first morning. I would love to see the conference start with a kickoff keynote at noon, so everybody can travel in the morning, get there, and attend that important banquet on Saturday evening. We are not staying at the hotel. That's the other sad part for me. It's a beautiful facility. I'd love to be on site. It's certainly a lot easier attending a conference when you can, break and go up to your room, that sort of thing. But it was just too expensive, and our chapter needs to be responsible to our members for these funds. So I guess that's the other thing, that to the members attending, it's about content, it's about networking, it's about being together. It's not about an amazing facility, I guess. And that would be my comment, that let's go with the basic conference center and really take care of costs, be responsible there. So thank you.
That's great input. Thank you, Sandy.
I agree.
Just out of curiosity on that, were you registering? I mean, was the hotel rate that was part of the NAFA block too expensive, or was it after the block expired?
No, I believe I got the 349 was what.
Okay,
Yeah.
that helps. I know that right now, like the hotel's basically sold out, and the rooms they've got, they're going for like more than
I
double
mean,
that. So
Yeah. So
yeah, okay,
traveling from Minnesota
yeah,
with all the other expenses, the hotel, it was going to be about, a couple $1,000s for the chapter to cover, and we just decided
Sure.
that was too much. So I'm staying close by, and that works.
Well, I'm glad you're close by. That's good.
Yeah.
Anybody else? All right, if you
Kevin?
think of stuff, I'm sorry. Yeah, please go ahead, Sandy.
Oh, that's okay. Do we know how many people come in before and stay late just because it's a destination? Or are people coming in just for Apex and we can see it? I mean, like when I go, I don't have time to come in a day before and a day after to enjoy the area. The only one time I did is because I wanted to see DC. But,
Right.
Other than that, we just don't have the time. And I know all of the agents here that usually go with me, they just don't have time. They're going in that morning or late that night. So I think it's
Yeah,
something that we might survey and find out.
sure, and I think that we should, and I think that Mark was totally right that basing it upon actual data from members is more important than having a subset, meaning our board that might be in a bubble, talk about what they think members want. Which is also, I think, you're better than the board because it spreads that circle out more, but going directly to them is important. We do have some that are either coming early or staying late because they are going to take advantage of that area and the room rate that we've got out there, which is, and while it's high, it's a lot less than what it normally is, but not many. Most people are coming in the night before when the conference starts in the morning, and then they're leaving that Sunday morning right afterwards. But we have a dozen or so that are booking it on a day or two. Anybody else? All right.
Hey,
I guess
Kevin, real quick.
yeah, yeah,
One of my
sure.
board members did ask about some training being available via Zoom in tandem with the existing meeting. Just a thought.
Thanks, Sherry. The only other major thing that I had to talk about was again just recruitment in general. And I know that sometimes we sound like a broken record hitting the same stuff over and over again, but all of us as professionals understand that no money, no mission. And if we don't have people joining the association and paying their dues, we don't have the resources we need to serve our members and to fulfill that mission. Empowering financial professionals through world-class advocacy and education. Membership in NAIFA, despite the fact that we've now got a dedicated department and we've got a full-flung membership committee to work on membership, has seen no real change in trajectory. We're recruiting a few more people than what we did last year and the year before, but not a ton more. And our attrition rate continues to be at about the same rate that it's been in the past. So we've got to find a way between all of us that work for the association and then those that are in the volunteer leadership ranks in the association to somehow get the word out more, to tell people about our expanded value proposition, to invite more financial professionals, since it doesn't have to be just advisors anymore, to join, but also to help make sure that all those that are currently in stay in and that they see value out of what they're paying in dues each month. And I know I get a lot of feedback, I'm sure you guys do too, that the dues rate is just getting too high. That now it's $69 a piece a month is the rack rate. I get it. Now, a lot of, and what I'll also get is a lot of other a lot of other people say, my dues and insert name of other organization are less. And that's true, but in NAIFA, you're kind of getting 3 dues levels all at once, right? You're getting, the national, the state, and the local, either through an affiliate or through a chapter that's providing you with programming and networking and opportunities. And it takes resources to make all that happen at all 3 levels. If NAIFA was just a national association that just did virtual programming and an occasional national conference, we could deliver value, but a lot of the NAIFA experience takes place with people being able to break bread and get together face to face. And today I was at the Central Florida chapter meeting and got to speak to them for about 15 minutes, which was great. On Tuesday, I was in New York and spoke to the New York conference. A lot of the NAIFA experience is that being able to just sit back and slap people on the back and talk about things and to make sure those connections are firm and solid. And so it's, if you all, again, think about great ideas to what we can do to improve retention, to increase recruitment, if there's anything we could do from the headquarters levels, things you guys have seen at the chapter level that have been effective, pass them on. Let's all learn from each other. Because again, every dues dollar that comes in gets shared between the chapters and NAIFA itself. And the more dues dollars we've got coming in, the more resources we have at all parts of the enterprise to invest in fulfilling our mission. But it's this year I've been disappointed, but you never know how things are going to work, especially with a merger, that this infusion of this incredibly strong new value proposition, coupled with our advocacy issues that are on the table and the successes that we continue to have, like getting the stay in the Department of Labor's fiduciary only rule, and then having the judge say we're virtually certain to win on the merits, to fighting things like the PRO Act, and with all the stuff coming down with Medicare and Medicaid, and then when you look at, again, like we talked about, the Super Bowl of tax coming up next year, there's never been a more important time to be part of NAIFA, but it's also never been a part where our value proposition was stronger. But we've just got to get the word out to more folks so that they understand it. And then the ones that we've got involved so that they see it and they understand the impact that this association can make. So I just want to challenge you all to keep working hard at it, to challenge your board members to go out and recruit some more folks, to make sure that we've got people. It doesn't matter to me if it's volunteers or staff or a combo thereof, or a bot named Corey Matthews that goes out and contacts everybody. just, you know, again, reaching out and making sure people feel engaged and wanted and appreciated, and then encouraged to, no matter what, stay part of the association, but also grab your friend and neighbor that are also financial professionals and have them join as well. We need to be bigger so we can be better and we can be stronger and we can be more impactful. And I know you guys all know that as staff professionals, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention it again. So, Corey, do you have anything else you wanted to cover with the group, or Justy?
Well, I was going to throw out a quick shout out to some of our standouts, and I'll start
Let's
with
do it.
who is leading Arkansas, a Platinum Chapter Excellence Award winner. That's great. Let's see, who else do we have here? We've got Nate, rep in Cincinnati. Lisa again from Memphis. We've got Linda Turner from New Mexico. We've got, who else do we have with us? Mark for Massachusetts, got a bronze, and Abby for South Carolina, and Lisa again for Tennessee. So great job, everybody. I don't think I missed anybody, did I, Justy? That's on the call. There are more award winners than that, but I wanted to recognize the ones that were with us at least. So kudos.
Well, awesome. Congratulations. Thanks for not only doing a good job yourself as the executive in charge of your chapter, but also again, in encouraging your volunteers and your members to do what's right, to achieve those objective measurables, and to keep adding more value. Well done. Well done. Next year, let's all be on the list. Jesse, anything else besides just smiling and uplifting and motivating everybody throughout the day?
Nope, I think you got everything.
All right. Does anyone else have anything you'd like to discuss? Okay. Well, I look forward to seeing some of you next week out in Phoenix. Sarah, hopefully I'll see you in Chicago the week after. We'll see if I'm lucky, Sarah. That'll be if I'm a lucky man. I did get to see you last month in Cleveland, so that was good there as well. Appreciate all your hard work. Appreciate your dedication to NAIFA. I know that none of you get paid what you deserve based upon your hard work, but what you do helps make this organization strong, adds value to our members, and then they in turn can impact the lives of millions of American families around this country. So well done. Appreciate you. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.